deconstructing the brand kit. First of all, what's a brand? A brand is a name, symbol, design, or concept that distinguish a product, service, or a company from competitors. Please, let's be mindful of the keywords here. It's a what? It's a name, a symbol, a design, or concept and idea that distinguish a what? A product, service, company from its what? Competitors, representing the entire perception, feeling, reputation people have about the product, built through consistent experience, visual such as logo, colors, typography, and some other elements, messaging, and values to create what? Loyalty and recognition. So the essence of a brand at the end of everything is to do what? Is to create loyalty and recognition. And how can a brand achieve all this? How can they achieve all this? It's been what? It's been consistent in the experience they give out. It's been consistent in their visuals, being consistent in the kind of message they try to push out, and also in their value. A good example is Coca-Cola drink, for instance. You buying a Coca-Cola bottle today, this night, you have a very nice, juicy, tasty, whatever, and tomorrow you try to purchase the same product and you get to discover that it's different. How will you feel? Let us know in the comment section. How will you feel if you taste Coca-Cola today and you taste that particular product again tomorrow? You feel what? Someone is crying. I don't know what that means, but it means, I guess it means you have a lot of questions to ask. So now, if that fails, it means there'll be a lot of questions, to the brand. So today we are going to be looking at the visual aspect. We are not going to be looking at the experience. We are not going to be looking at the message. We are going to be putting more emphasis on the visual aspect. I believe everybody will understand. So now let's continue. Let's see what a brand kit is. So a brand kit or brand identity kit, some people call it brand kit, some people call it brand guideline, is a definitive guide that organizes the visual. It does what? It organizes the visual and stylistic element of a brand. So now let's see a brand kit as a fingerprint. Without there's not how you can actually differentiate someone from his or her fingerprints. Am I right? Or your ID card. It's very, very difficult for you to differentiate someone from his or her ID card or fingerprint. The same thing applies to the brand kit of a product, of a brand. Every company, knowingly or unknowingly, conscious or unconscious, they have a brand kit, and every one of us, we use that brand kit to know them, to recognize them. When you see a particular product, you say, this is this product. For instance, if you see Spotify logo, for instance, you know that this is Spotify. You definitely know that this is Spotify. If you see HP logo, you know that this is what? This is HP. Do you understand? So it's very, very difficult for you to separate a brand identity of the brand identity of a brand from the brand itself. Let's continue. I believe we are catching up. So now let's see, for instance, now this is the brand kit of a brand, Coca-Cola Foundation precisely. Now this is the brand kit of Coca-Cola Foundation. Here you can actually see their logo in a monochrome form. You can actually see their colors. You can see their colors. You can see the gradients. You can see their text. You can see their text. When I mean their text, I'm talking about their typography. And you can actually see the rebranding they've had in time past. In 1969, this is what Coca-Cola looks like. In 1985, this is how it looks like. In 1987, this is how it looks like. Till 2007, this is how it looks like. So this is a brand kit of a particular product. So I don't know, maybe you own a business or you're a designer and you are finding it difficult to create something like this. Don't worry, you've come to the right path. So now let's go through some other brands. Let's see Spotify. So we are going to be using Coca-Cola, Spotify, and MasterCard for our for the samples case study of this course. So now let's see Spotify. Now the same thing applies to Spotify. You can see the variation of their logo. You can see some like the variation of their logo. You know, sometimes when I'm creating a brand kit for a client and I try to give them different variation of the logo, they'll be like, no, we don't want this, we want yellow, we want green. I'll be like, yeah, I understand you, this is your primary color, but you still need your monochrome color, you still need the other variation. They'll be, no, you know, they used to say customers are right? Am I right? If I'm right, thumbs up. Yeah. So thank you. So, you know, trying to explain to your clients and they are not getting it because they don't understand what a brand kit is all about. They don't understand what branding is all about. But if you see these companies, they are all intentional about their visuals, be it for printing, be it for socials, be it for digital. They are so intentional about it. So even for instance, for Spotify, you can never see Spotify logo like this. Am I right? Have you ever seen Spotify logo like this? If I'm being right, thumbs up, please. You can never see Spotify logo like this. You can never see Spotify logo like this. You can never see it like this. You can never see it like this. Do you understand? So this is a guide for designers. This is a guide for creatives. So okay, this is the guideline for Spotify. If I'm being employed into Spotify as a designer, for instance, I will need to go through the brand guideline, understand it well, and see on how to create my own creatives through using the guideline. That's how it works in the corporate environment. Except you do design for churches. Even some churches now understand branding, but some will not. They'll be like, put lights, your background should be shouty, your design should be emotional. Someone said, Isaac, please, I need this flyer to be emotional. I'll be like, when did I turn to a therapist like this, for instance? Yeah, Ayomide is laughing. I think I'm right? So that's how it is. People don't really understand branding, and when you try to explain to them, they'll be like, just design something. It's not like that. When you understand this as a designer or as a creative, the way you pitch the cost of your services, it goes far. Now, for instance, if I want to design a logo for someone, and the person is like, Isaac, I need a logo. Okay, I'll be like, okay, what kind of business do you have? Do you want to? Is it an existing business or it's a new business? Okay, then I'll offer my services. At the end of my service to you, you'll be having a logo in different dimension variation. You have a typography for your brand. You have different mock-ups in which you can actually use. You will have a business card. You have a business card design, letterhead design, things like that. And when I say 300K for a logo, you can never negotiate. But if you are saying, oh, logo, just the icon, it's not done like that. Please, don't do that. All right, now let's see another case study, MasterCard. So every one of you can actually go online and do your research on Spotify. Go to Google, search for Spotify brand guidelines. You will see it's about 90 something pages. Yeah, 90 something pages. So you can actually go Google it and try to understand how it works. So we have MasterCard. MasterCard, this is their brand guideline. You can never see MasterCard using orange and green. Am I right? Have you ever seen MasterCard using orange and green? Maybe in their debit card or their social design or whichever creative. Have you ever seen MasterCard using orange and green? Nah, thank you so much. So why? Because they understand what it means to maintain consistency. Just imagine there's a social media on let's say on Instagram. There's an handle that has MasterCard as its name, and you see orange and green. What will happen to that brand? You see a lot of people questioning that brand, like, wait, what is this? What is this? This is fake. This is scam. This is spam. And stuff like that. So enables what? Enables trust. It builds trust and loyalty. Now let's continue. So now, why brand kits? I've mentioned it in my explanation. It's what? The primary purpose is consistency. The primary purpose for every brand kit, whichever one, maybe international or local or whichever one, it's what? Consistency. That's the essence of a brand guideline. And why is that? Whether a designer or social media manager or a printer is working on your material, the brand kit ensures they all use the same shades of blue or shade of any color, the correct font, and the correct logo version. I work in a company, in a fintech company, and our printers, they'll go online and download something else, and they will send it to us. We tell them that this is not our logo. They'll be like, this is your logo now. Oh God, this is not our logo. Why? Maybe the cap, maybe one particular letter is supposed to be in capital letter, in caps, and the other one and the one they brought to us is not. So because we understand what consistency is all about, we try to maintain that. So the essence of a brand kit is for what? Is for consistency. It's for consistency. And the components, we have 3 components of a brand kit. If you're with me, kindly give me a thumbs up. If you're with me, kindly give me a thumbs up. If you're enjoying it and you want me to continue, kindly give me a thumbs up. I don't know why some persons are not joining yet. Let's go invite some other people to join. Okay. So we have 3 components of any brand guideline or brand kit. We have 3 major components, which is the logo, the color, the typography. This is the 3 major, whichever brand guideline you want to try, or you want to try create for any brand. We have 3 components, and in this component we are going to be designing things around it. We're going to be trying to understand what a logo is. We're going to try understand what color is, what typography is. All right, please try to mute your audio so we don't get a noisy environment. All right, now for the logo, you can see an example of what a logo is. in different variation. When it's on a solid background, the color it should be. When it's on a white background, the color it should be. Things like that. And also we see colors. We see color. Most brand they have like four variation of color: the primary color, the secondary color, the accent color, and the neutral color. So we're going to be looking at that. And also lastly, the typography. The typography is the last major component. Mind you, I'm saying major component of a brand kit. Some other brand kits you can actually start, you can include the mock-up, you can include the patterns, you can include photography, visual photography samples, you can include so many things. But the major brand kits is what? Logo, color, typography. Go to the chat session and type the major brand kits. Let me know if you're still in the class. Go to the try to find the chat button and type logo, color, typography. I can see you. Why are people just typing logo, color? Oh, thank you. All right, now let's move on. I believe you are enjoying the class. Now, a logo. The first one is the logo. A brand kit doesn't just list one logo. If you've been designing for a product and the only thing you do is just to give them one variation of their logo, please try to undo that from today. Give them different variation. Please. Different variation. Mind you, the primary logo stands, but different variation. And it includes variation to ensure the logo looks good in different space. For instance, you can see the Spotify logo. For instance, you can see on a white background, this is how it must look like. On a white background, it should also look like this. On a black background, it should have the green circle and the wave icon. Similar, not even similar, exactly like this. On a green background, it must have something like this. And also, the element of a logo, when you're creating your brand kit, you must have a primary logo. For instance, you can see the primary logo of Spotify is this green guy here looking at us. So, which can be used for their headline, their headers, official documents, and also the icon only. You see some products they have the icon and its name with it. So you should also try to consider that, and also the monochrome of that particular color. That particular logo. When I mean monochrome, I'm talking about black and white. You understand, like something like this, black and white. So next is your clear white space rule. Very, very important. Clear white space rule is very, very important when it comes to logo creation. Now, for instance, if you check, I don't know if you can actually see. Let me try do this. So if you see here, you notice there are things like guideline around this logo. So now, why do we have things like this? We have things like this considering factors like you're creating a flyer, for instance, in which you are going to see. You're creating a flyer, for instance, you don't just put the logo at the extreme edge of that creative. No, you should try to understand the principle of white spacing. So when creating your logo for any brand, you need to consider these three things. That's the primary logo itself, the logo icon, the icon only, the monochrome, and also the clear space rule. Now let's continue. Let's see some other components. The color palette, the color palette. we're going to be looking at the psychology of color briefly, what each color stands for, so you can actually know the particular color to use for a particular brand coming to you for a job. So now this section defines the specific color of the brand using codes. Using codes, very, very important. You shouldn't just say red when you're creating your brand kit. You should specify the code. Is it RGB? Is it X code? Is it CMYK for print? You should specify the brand. You should specify the color code. Am I right? If I'm right, thumbs up, please. You should specify your brand code. Because if you don't specify your brand code, how will another creative or another designer make use of that color code? It's not possible. So when creating your brand kit, you need to do what? Consider that. Please, please kindly use your... Yes. Sorry for that, everyone. So now you need to consider the color code when you're creating your brand kit, that for yourself or for a client. And for every creative, for every brand kit, you need at least four, in fact at least two major two variation of the color for a brand. Possibly you just want to streamline it to the primary and the secondary color. But if you want to go further or go detailed, you can still add some other colors like the accent color or the neutral color. Now, for instance, Coke made use of tomato red. Coke's color is tomato red. Go to your Google and search for it. Tomato red. You will see Coke kind of red. You will see tomato red. And the tomato red has a color code. I think, yeah, we have it here. The color code is here. So not just any kind of tomato red. So you need to be careful about that when you're choosing a color for a brand. So now here we have some examples. We have some examples here. We have we have some example here. We have an example for a nature brand. A nature brand like NGO. You shouldn't go use red for NGO. What's happening? Or you're trying to walk around the agricultural industry and you're using red. Bro, what's happening to green? So for a nature themed brand, the palette usually consists of 2 primary color and 2 to 3 secondary colors. Now, an example is this. Here we have the color name, we have the preview itself, we have its name where you can actually go online to check for it, and specifically we have the X code. The X code is very, very important. Why? Because it helps in printing. It helps for printing. We make use of CMYK. Please be careful about this. If you are creating a design that is for print, don't use X code. Don't use X code. I'm not saying you cannot use it all, but it might change when it gets to the printer's decks. Why? Because most of them, they make use of CMYK, especially if you are doing printing like separation. When I mean separation, like you're doing printing like for a book, or you're doing a printing for a large scale production, it's CMYK, because they will need to do the plates for that particular book or that particular print, and for that they have cyan, magenta, yellow, and white, and black. They have cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. That's CMYK if you are designing for print. But if you are designing for socials, like, you can actually use your X code, which is something like this. You can use the X code. If you are designing for maybe presentation or video, or for mobile. When I mean mobile, like for mobile, you can actually use RGB. That's red, green, and blue. I believe we all understand. So that's that for color palette. Now let's see color psychology. Now, color psychology, this is where we're going to be looking at colors and what they mean. Colors and what they mean. I believe every one of us, you must have seen this. I'm just trying to bring this to your remembrance once again. Now, if you are designing around the pinky, I believe the ladies in the house, their favorite color is pink. Ladies in the house, if your favorite color is pink, let us see your thumbs up. I believe you have ladies in the house. Akman, good news. You're a guy. Why pink? So, okay, for pink, we have femininity, we have compassion, we have someone is saying man is army green. Easy. We have playfulness, we have gentleness, we have romance, we have kindness, we have affection, we have a lot of things, a lot of meaning to the color pink. So it means when you're seeing I think Lush uses pink. Is it Lush? Yeah, Lush, the air brand. Right? Am I right? Yeah, they use pink as their as one of their as their major brand color, and you can actually see the reason they use that particular color. Why? Because their product is for the female, so you cannot use pink for men's boxer. Nobody is going to buy a boxer. You understand what I'm saying? All right, now let's continue. We have red. Whenever you see a brand using red, what does that mean? It means determination, excitement, leadership, attention, intensity, passion, bravery. You see a brand like Red Bull. I believe any of us we know Red Bull, that drink called Red Bull. You see Coca-Cola, you see CNN. All these brands, they call for what? Either leadership, or they're looking for attention, or they're passionate about a particular thing, particular vision or mission, things like that. So it calls for what? Bravery. That the color red. Now the color orange, talking about playfulness, optimism, adventure, warmth, success, versatility, fun. The orange color is actually cool, very homey. It's not too loud, it's not too dull. It's just there on its own, giving its vibe. So we have the yellow. The yellow talks about joy, clarity, intellect, curiosity, positivity, happiness, brightness, cheerfulness. So if you go online and you take a study on color psychology, you will see something like this. The color green, talking about freshness, prosperity, harmony, renewal, serenity, balance, growth, luck. You can be talking about, like I said, an NGO, for instance, and you're using red. No, we want prosperity. We want prosperity and refreshness. And for blue, we have peace, trust, power, loyalty, success, wisdom, inspiration, dependability. And we have purple. A good example of a brand that uses blue in the fintech environment is MoneyPoint. I believe every one of us, we know MoneyPoint. MoneyPoint uses blue. For purple, a brand in the tech industry that uses purple, Wema Bank does, Palmpay does. Yeah, Palmpay does. For green, we have OPay, and lights like that. So now let's see some brand that uses that use one or two colors here. Now we have CNN, we have Coca-Cola, we have Avid, we have Lego, we have Canon. So we have this company. They use red for their what? They use red for their brand. Why? Because it talks about boldness, courageous, being energetic. So we have for orange, we have Amazon, we have Niconidion, we have Blog itself, we have Firefox, we have Stars, we have Golf. So these are the brand that use orange for their brand. We have yellow, we have Nikon, we have IMDb. We have the DNH. What's this one? Is a Korea frame. So for the green, we have your Android. You have Tropicana. We have Boost. We have a lot of them. We have Monster. This is Monster logo. I believe you know Monster. For blue, you have Dell. You have HP. You have ORB. You have WordPress. So they talk about trustworthy, strong, dependable, secure, blah blah blah. And for purple, purple talks about being wise, creative, imaginative, royalty, blah blah blah. We have Yahoo, like I mentioned. We have Mema, we have Pampay, blah blah like that. And for black, we have D&G. I believe every of us we know D&G. D&G is a fashion brand. We have Branda, we have Audi, we have BlackBerry. So these are like brands with different colors, and the reason they actually choose one or two colors. Now let's continue. Typography. Now typography, this specifies exactly which fonts are allowed. I want to show us something. Now, if you check through this, how beautiful permits me to say how beautiful this design is. If this design is so beautiful, please kindly give us a thumbs up. Oh, why? Oh my goodness. So the thing about creative is you shouldn't say someone's work is bad. Someone's work is bad because the person has put a lot of effort into it. But now, considering the standard of creative, this is not right. This is the murderer and the barrier of graphic design. The person actually murdered the design. So now, talking about typography, you can see the numbers of fonts being used in this design. Someone is saying I should not sugarcoat it. You have to support our fellow ones. When I saw this, I was like, I wasn't born a designer. Design chose me. Art is art. I was like, are you serious? I got this stuff online. I was like, oh God, I need to show this to the class. So now, the use of so many fonts, this is not right. And that is why typography, the principle of typography says it allows a particular kind of font. So if you are designing a brand kit, you should do what? Don't go and combine 5 fonts for the brand for the brand, combine 10 fonts. No, please, I beg you, in the name of God, please don't do that. Consider the principle. A brand kit usually pairs 2 fonts, one for shouting, that's the headline, and one for talking, that's the body text. And we have categories of fonts. We have the sans serif font, we have the serif font, we have the handwritten font, we have the script font, we have the display font, we have the monospaced font. Now, talking about the most commonly used is the sans serif and serif font. And maybe you can actually use the script font. No, the script font is like the fancy font. Do you understand? So now, what's the difference between a sans serif and a serif font? Now, for this presentation, we made use of the sans serif and a serif font. Now, the sans serif font are fonts that are bold. You can never see caps. When I mean caps, if you, for instance, if you check through this T, the T in this typography, you notice something at the edge. Yeah, let me try note it. Where's my pen? So you notice something here, something curvy here, something at the edge. You see at the edge of this, at the edge of this. So the stroke are what? It has stroke at the edge, either on top or at the bottom. But for the sans serif font, there's not like that. For instance, is the T. Now, this font being used for this particular section is the what? Is the sans serif font. So you never see font of a sans serif having caps. You never see them having caps at the edge of their stroke. You can never see that. Do you understand? So for clarity, it's fine. You make use of what? Just measure on 2 fonts when creating a brand kit. I believe you understand. If you understand, kindly give me a thumbs up so we know you are not sleeping. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now let's continue. Now we've talked about it. Now let's see some nice looking. Now let's talk about this. What do you think about this? Is this a nice looking creative? Is this a nice looking creative, or it's just similar to the previous one we saw here? Now, if you, I actually created this particular design for 2 brands, but I had to remove their name because I'm not marketing them. All right, so now if you check through this, you try to understand the combination of typography and color. Now, the color of this brand, it's blue. So I try to make use of the blue on the creative. So I don't want the blue to be too shouty. I don't want it to be too shouty. I love minimalistic design. I love minimalistic design a lot. You understand? Because it calls for clarity and things like that. So now I had to do something around this to call for attention. Make it stylish. I mean, try to play around the white spacing and things like that. This is a very simple design, but it goes a long way. So at the end of your training, and the more you practice, I expect and I believe every one of us should be able to create something more than this. If you want to create something more than this, kindly give me a clap. And also, if you can create something similar to this right now, kindly give us a clap. Oh, Daniel, okay. Please, you're not muted. Thank you so much. Now let's continue. I just showed us this example so we can actually see a clear difference between this, our Mr. Born. I wasn't born a designer. Design chose me. And something more clearer of this creative. Now let's continue. Now let's see, what do you need to check when you're making your creative? What do you need to check when you're making your creative? First thing, you need to check your logo files, your color codes, and your font files. Very, very important. When I mean checklists, like you're presenting or you're submitting your project to your client, all you got to do is check out for the PNG. When I mean PNG, without background, portable network graphics, your PNG, transparent background, your JPEG with white background, and your SVG file. Now, your SVG file enables any designer to be able to change. When I mean change, it helps. What's the right word now? It's editable. Yes, it's editable. So a PNG file can never be edited except you want to go to Photoshop and start using your whichever tool to change the color. But if you want something less free, stress-free, just ensure you submit your logo to your client in this format: your PNG, your JPEG, and your SVG, or your EPS. Your software like your Illustrator, your CorelDRAW for the CorelDRAW users, your Figma, you can actually open this file, your SVG file, in your Figma, in your Illustrator, in your InDesign, in your CorelDRAW software. So that's why we advise you do what? You compile this particular files into a folder and submit to your client. And also, any SVG file will never lose its quality because it's a vector file. It's a shape. When I mean vector file, I mean it's a shape. That's a layman definition. It's a shape, and a shape can never lose its what? Its quality. So next is the color codes. Remember, I talked about the color variation. So you need to also ensure you submit your color codes. Color codes, the X code, the CMYK, the RGB color codes. So you need to do what? You need to compile all this. Possibly you're choosing a purple. You should have that purple in X code. You should also have that purple in CMYK, and lastly RGB. Very, very important. And also the font files. Maybe you are using a stylist font and you chose that font from Google or whichever place you got it from. So all you got to do is to put that particular font in a folder and submit to your client, either for Mac or for Windows. Very, very important. And we all know Google font is a very nice font. Is a place to get different variation of fonts.